Hello students, last time I have started the term radioactivity that we have introduced on the basis of the neutron by proton ratio of different nuclei. If the neutron by proton ratio of any nucleus doesn't come in that range that is required for the stability of any nucleus, then due to this process, if the n by p ratio is not in that range, then these nuclei goes for the emission of some radiation, and due to the emission of this radiation they tries to convert this ratio in that range, and this process of emission of radiation is termed as radioactivity. So here we will be dealing with this term that we have introduced last time in detail. So that's our today's topic. We are to discuss about radioactivity. As I said initially, that this radioactivity is defined as the tendency of ray emitting. So in short, this is defined as the ray emitting tendency of any element. And due to the emission of these radiation, the atomic mass of these elements goes to decay, and this kind of spontaneous decay can also be termed as the radioactivity process. If I talk about the discovery of this process, then the very first time this process was studied by a scientist, the name was Henry Becquerel. Henry Becquerel discovered radioactivity in the salt of potassium uranyl, and the salt was potassium uranyl sulfate. The formula of this salt can be given as it will be containing 2 atoms of potassium with K2, and the molecule will be UO2 with the sulfate radical SO4 whole twice, and since it's a hydrated salt, so 2 molecules of water will be there. So this was the very first salt in which the process of radioactivity was first discovered, and it was the year of 1895. 1 year later, in a different element, the radioactivity was discovered, and it was discovered in an element thorium. This the radioactivity of thorium was discovered by the scientist. The name was Marie Curie. Later on, in different various elements, radioactivity was discovered, such as polonium and radium. These were also found to show radioactive behavior, and the radioactivity of these two elements was discovered by Pierre Curie. Now, since this radioactivity was very first discovered by the scientist Henry Becquerel, that's why the rays emitted by the unstable nuclei are also termed as Becquerel rays, and it is defined as the process when a substance emits radiation by itself without the help of any external thing, then this kind of natural phenomena is termed as natural radioactivity. Such as, if I talk about the radioactivity of radium, thorium or polonium that we have discussed earlier, then these elements, they have the tendency to emit radiation naturally, and that's why the radioactivity phenomena of these elements are classified in the heading of natural radioactivity. On the other hand, if we induce the radioactivity process in a stable nuclei, by any process we convert a stable nuclei into an unstable nuclei, and if this unstable nuclei emits some radiation, then this kind of radioactivity that is induced artificially is termed as artificial radioactivity. For example, if I talk about the nuclei of aluminium that has the atomic number 20, that has the atomic mass number 27 with the atomic number 30. So this nuclei is stable in nature, and that is why it doesn't go for the emission of any radiation from itself spontaneously. But if we bombard this aluminium nuclei with the alpha particles that are indicated by the symbol He24, then by the emission of these alpha radiation, it is converted into the nuclei of phosphorus that are indicated by phosphorus 30. If I talk about the another isotope of phosphorus that is indicated by the symbol P1531, then this one is a stable nuclei. But the another isotope of this phosphorus that I have indicated by the symbol P30, this one is unstable in nature, and this unstable nuclei goes for the emission of some radiation. So here we can see that initially this was a stable nuclei, but due to the bombarding of alpha particles, we have induced the radioactivity process in this stable nuclei, and this kind of radioactivity is termed as artificial radioactivity. Here this process will be completed with the emission of one neutral particles, that we can say that here the emission of neutron particle is going on. So that is about the types of radioactivity. Now we will be dealing that why various kinds of radiations are emitted by a unstable nuclei, and how by the emission of these radiations the N by P ratio of a unstable nuclei comes in the range of that is required for a stable nuclei. So that's our next heading. Here we will be talking about the explanation for different radioactive radiations. Here we will be dealing with the very first radiation, that is alpha radiation, indicated by this kind of symbol. These alpha rays are emitted by the addition of two protons and two neutrons present in the unstable nuclei. When in the nucleus of unstable nuclei, two protons and two neutrons combine, they form a nuclei of helium, and this helium nuclei is termed as alpha particle. The equation for the formation of alpha particle can be indicated by, here we will be starting with the two neutrons indicated by the symbol N01. They are going to combine with two protons indicated by this symbol. By the reaction, they will be converted into helium nuclei with the atomic number 2 and the mass number 4. This helium nuclei can also be termed as alpha particle. And when lots of alpha particles will be emitted from the unstable nuclei, then this will be termed as alpha rays. Here this process occurs with the release of some energy, since it's an exothermic process, and the energy is released in the form of the kinetic energy that is in the range of 4 megawatt to 9 megawatt. So here energy is released, and this energy helps these alpha particle to come out from the nucleus. But as I said, here in a single nuclear reaction like this, the energy range that is released is between 5 to 9 mega electron volt. But the energy required to remove a particle against the nuclear force is approximate 25 mega electron volt. So here the coming out of alpha particle from the nucleus occurs due to the emission of a lots of alpha particles, and this effect is termed as tunnel effect. So that is about the emission of alpha rays, and due to the emission of alpha rays, here we can see that the number of protons and neutrons are decreased, and since this number will be decreased, by this the N by P ratio of an unstable nuclei is tried to change in that range, is tried to convert in that range that is required to be a nuclei stable. So that is about the alpha rays. Now we will be talking about the emission of beta rays. Here this emission of antineutrino is assumed to explain the conservation of momentum both the side. So that is about the emission of beta 1 minus particle. Here one kind of beta particles are more emitted in this weak nuclear reaction, and that will occur when this proton will be converted into neutron. That's the second type of this weak nuclear reaction. If the number of protons are higher than the number of neutrons, then in this condition the N by P ratio will be having lesser value as compared to that is required. To make this balance, here some protons will be converted into neutrons, and this conversion will occur like this. There is one proton with the symbol P11. It will be converted into neutron with the symbol N01, and to make the charge and the mass balance, here we will be assuming a positively charged particle, a emission of positively charged particle at the product side. This will be having mass 0 to make the mass balance at both the sides, and this particle is termed as beta plus 1 particle, which is also known as positron particle. Here, to make the reaction balance and to explain the conservation of momentum both the side, we will be assuming one more particle here, emission of one more particle here, and this particle is termed as neutrino particles, indicated by the symbol mu. Here what the particle I have written here, it's neutrino, and before this I was talking about the particle anti-neutrino. These two particles will also be used to explain the energy of these beta particles emitted due to the weak nuclear reaction, and how these can be used to explain the energy of beta particles that we will be dealing while discussing the properties of these alpha, beta and gamma rays. Here we will be talking about the next rays, and this next ray that is emitted by a radioactive substance is termed as gamma rays, that can be indicated by this symbol. Now, how can we explain this emission of gamma rays? So to explain the emission of these gamma rays, we assume that just like in an atom, there are various shells to situate or to give the position of electrons. Same as in the nucleus, there are different energy levels are present, where the different nucleons are assumed to be arranged. Whenever a nucleus goes for the emission of alpha and beta particles, then the nucleons which are present at the higher energy level, that I can draw like this, it's about the nucleus. There are the various energy levels in this nucleus, and whenever the emission of alpha or beta rays occurs, a nucleons which is present at the higher energy level, it comes from the higher energy level to the lower energy level. This nucleon, as it comes from the higher energy level to the lower energy level, then due to the movement of nucleons like this, there the emission of some energy occurs, and this energy emission occurs in the form of radiation. This radiation is termed as gamma rays. So that is about the emission of gamma rays, and by this we can explain the emission of these radioactive radiations. Now we will be dealing with the properties of these rays, but that we will be discussing in the next lecture.